is Kayla Gordon, and today I'll be talking about the Great Depression. What is the Great Depression? The Great Depression was one of the most horrifying economic downfalls in history. It started in August of 1929 to March of 1939. That lasted exactly 10 years. In the Great Depression, this is where people started to lose their jobs, businesses got taken away, and taxes started rising. What caused the Great Depression? The New York stock market crashed on October 1929, which sent Wall Street into a panic and wiped out millions of investors. Since the stock market crashed, people was afraid to keep money in the bank, so they attempted to withdraw their money in cash. The Great Depression went through 4 phases. The first phase is the business cycle. This is where the government manipulated compound to minority errors with a series of harmful interventions. Because of this, they have been watching close relations between money supply and economic activity. The easy money effect thus wear off, and the minority authorities was fearing price downfall, slow the growth of, or even contract the money supply. Here are some more facts of the business cycle. It choked off the money supply, raised interest rates for the next 3 years, presided over a money supply that shrank by 30%. Barnyard and Joseph Kennedy saw that the party was coming to an end before most other Americans did. The market rose and fell near synchronization with what the Feds was doing, meaning that they realized that the Feds or government was taking their money and manipulating them. The second phase. This is where taxes had shot up rapidly until peaking out at more than 25% in 1933. This is where President Hoover was elected. When President Hoover raised taxes, it was putting millions of people on the dole, which means they were putting millions of people in debt. The Revenue Act is an act that raised United States taxes rates across the board, with the top rate income rising from 25 to 63%. Here are some more facts about the degeneration of the world economy. Hoover dramatically increased government spending. Hoover agricultural doled out hundreds of millions of dollars to wheat and cotton farmers instead of to people. And then they lowered the income credit, which was established. The third phase is called the New Deal. This is where Franklin Roosevelt won president in 1932, collecting 472 electoral votes between 1933 and 1936. Government expenditures rose by 83%. Later, Roosevelt passed the Agricultural Adjustment Act, which means that a new tax on agricultural processors used the revenue to supervise the wholesale destruction of value crops and cattle. Here are some more details about the New Deal phase. Roosevelt created the Civil Works Administration in 1933. The American economy was soon relieved of the burden of some New Deal excesses. Unemployment dropped to 18% in 1935. The stock market crashed nearly 50% between August of 1937 and March of 1938. The last phase and the final phase is the Wager Act, aka the National Labor Act of 1935, which is a foundational statute of the United States labor that guarantees the right of private sector employees to organize trade unions. New restrictions on the stock market were imposed, but a great deal of the nation's capital was diverted into the war effort instead of into plant expansion or consume goods. Here are some more facts about the Wager Act. This is where Higgs drew a closer tension between the levels of private investments, business property, and free enterprise. The capital is needed to jumpstart the economy. Congress extract wealth from high-income earners responsible, which means that they got more money from high-class people than lower class. When Roosevelt took America to war in 1941, he eased up on an anti-business agenda. This is my works cited page. This is where I got all my information from about the Great Depression. If you'd like to learn more about the Great Depression, here are 7 websites that I got my information from, and I hope you enjoy.